my name's Jules Mitchell, and I'm going to fly straight in to talk about Mental Health Awareness Week. If you are someone who is stuck or feeling lost with anxiety, depression, some form of mental and or emotional distress, and of course they don't separate, do they? There is no separation between what's going on up here to what's going on down here. I've got a little bit of information, a little bit of education about anxiety that I feel is something that perhaps I feel is missing in the mental health arena. And I've got in front of me a card that one of my students gave to me at the end of one of my programs. And it's a flamingo. And she loves flamingo, so that's why she gave me the card. But it reminded me of a saying that be a flamingo in a flock of pigeons. And I love that, you know, and that's in a little way how I see myself. I see myself as a flamingo in a flock of pigeons, because I think there's an elephant in the room when it comes to talking and discussing and helping those people with mental health issues, problems, and emotional distress. And that is, we don't talk enough about the understanding of what anxiety is, the understanding of what depression is. And I don't mean from a mental perspective, I mean from a human perspective. I mean understanding our human, understanding our physiology, understanding that most people who struggle, who are stuck, and who are lost in what is diagnosed as anxiety or depression is most of the time the fact that their nervous system has been bombarded by stress and trauma for a long period of time. And they have what is now known, classed as a dysregulated nervous system, which basically means your nervous system is shot, guys. It cannot cope with the 21st century life, and it cannot cope with the life and the experiences that maybe you had as a child, which are traumatic, or traumas that you've had in your adult life. And again, I have so many people that I support who tell me, oh, well, I've never had trauma. You know, I wasn't abused, I wasn't neglected, etc. Trauma doesn't work like that. Your way of thinking and perceiving trauma is really different to the way your brain and your nervous system perceive trauma. All your brain, your nervous system, and your human is interested in is, am I safe in this moment, or is there a threat? And the perception of threat in the 21st century is so different to the perception of threat from 200,000 years ago when we were running around on the savannas. So I am passionate about education and giving people tangible tools to be able to really utilize on a day-to-day basis ways to calm that chaotic system down, ways to be present with your human and be compassionate with your human. And I use the term presentism, okay? How to be present with that without judgment, without negativity, being fully present and aware. So what I love to do is help people to play with presentism. So let's just for a moment talk about anxiety and give you a little bit of a metaphor for what anxiety is. So anxiety is an attention seeker. But unfortunately, the way we have dealt with and coped with anxiety over the years is to avoid it. Well, it's actually to do quite a lot of things to avoid it. We might busy ourselves with our to-do lists and things. We might battle our way through the day. We might avoid situations, people, feelings, thoughts. How's that going? Can you really avoid a thought? We might numb ourselves. Yeah, we might use things to numb ourselves. That could be, it could be prescribed medication, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be anything that we do to numb ourselves down. Yeah, so we don't feel. And then we distract ourselves, lots of things to distract. We've got social media, we've got Netflix, we've got online gaming, you name it, shopping, we've got all sorts of things that we do to distract. So that's what we've learned to do. That's a learned response, okay? And of course, we're bombarded by these as ways to help us cope. But that is it. That's the elephant in the room again. We are coping, we are dealing, we are not healing. I'm going to say that again. We are dealing, but not healing. We've got to be able to understand what anxiety really is. And anxiety is just a natural sensation. It's a natural response in the body to when the brain and nervous system just doesn't feel safe. It feels that it's threatened in some way. Yet we just avoid that. We avoid it like the plague. We do not want to listen to it. We don't want to feel it. It feels horrible, and we worry about it, and we worry about having a panic attack. Don't ever call it that again. Call it a body wobble, because that's it. We worry about what's happened in the future, what's happening now. We're worrying about what's happened in the past. We're worrying about what could happen in the future, but we're not present. We're not present with where we're at, and we're scared of being present with where we're at. So would you like to find out how it works a little bit more? Okay, so basically, I want you to think of a metaphor for anxiety as being like a little child. Little 2-year-old needs some attention, okay? They're crying, there's something wrong, they come to you, you placate them for a little bit, you go, okay, it's all right, calm down, I'll be there in a minute, go and sit down and I'll be over in a minute. And you get distracted and you busy yourself and you're doing things. And then the little child comes back. And of course, every time... Oh dear, look, can you see my green screen has just fallen down? I'm just going to carry on because that's life, isn't it? This is what happens, guys. Life just comes along, and I've got my lovely green screen at the back, so I've got my lovely thing behind me, and now you can see my real wall, which is still work related, still everything on there. So I'm not going to re-record this, because that just shows you that this is the real world. This is my life. This is what happens. So little child, okay, and the little child will keep coming back. And the more you avoid them and distract them, okay, the louder they will get, until they are screaming at you, I want attention. Now, that is exactly what anxiety is like. It wants attention. It needs you. It needs you to see it. It needs you to feel it. It needs to be validated. It needs to tell you something. It's a messenger for you. Yet you do your damnedest to avoid it. So if you had, going back to the metaphor of the child, if you had for the first time sort of got down, bended knee, and sort of looked at that child, looked in the eye and said, what is it, sweetheart? What is it you need from me? And they just, can you just turn the telly over? It's on the wrong channel. And you go, oh, okay. And it takes you 2 seconds to sort it out, instead of it escalating into this great big thing because you've been too busy or too distracted to actually, because you think that child needs a real good, something's really wrong and you need time and you need to spend time with them. Actually, it was a 2-second thing that they needed. Anxiety is exactly the same. It's usually probably a 90-second thing, not a 2-second thing. It takes 90 seconds for any emotion to go through your entire system. 1.5 minutes, that's it. Yet we spend a lifetime trying to avoid it. It makes no sense when you understand it. When you understand it, you go, why has no one ever told me this before? I think that's one of the most common phrases that people say to me. Why has no one ever told me this before? I've been doing it all wrong. I've been avoiding, I've been numbing, I've been medicating, I've been talking about it forever, but not actually being with it, being present with it. And you're present with it for just a short period of time. So if you like this concept, if you like this idea, I mean, this really is the elephant in the room as far as mental health is concerned, because we're talking about nervous systems, we're talking about the brain, we're talking about really being in the body and using real bottom-up approaches to understanding ourselves rather than top-down. Let's think this through, let's sort this out, let's analyze it. No, because you're just re-triggering everything all the time. So be with it. Okay, now being with it is scary when you've never been with it before. If you've never sat with anxiety before and made friends with it, then it's quite a big ask for me to say just be with it. But just try it. Just try it for this Mental Health Awareness Week. Okay, it's the theme is loneliness. Okay, and your anxiety is lonely. Okay, and it makes you lonely, it makes you lost, it makes you feel like there's no one can understand you, you're different to other people, and therefore you feel really isolated. Make friends with your anxiety. Yeah, love it, appreciate it, it's telling you something, accept it, be compassionate with it. Now obviously I have got processes, I've got educations, I've got lots of tools, I've got lots of ways of explaining it. But this video isn't about that. This video is for me to share something real tangible with you today. The education of understanding that anxiety wants to be seen, and it wants to be felt, and it wants to be heard. And you can do that very, very easily. And B, I'll give you a tool that will help you to do that. Once you've sat with it for a while, it's not a tool to distract yourself away from it. It's a tool to help to settle your nervous system, your brain, your system, when you are in the throes of it and when you are allowing yourself to feel it. So the tool comes from my MAD toolkit. I have a MAD toolkit. MAD stands for Making a Difference. And the tool is called the ballroom breath. Now it's a joy shot. So joy shot is a technique generally you use using the body to help calm the insides down. Okay. And this one's called the ballroom breath. And a lot of my students have renamed it and they call it sort of We Will Rock You because of the pattern of the breath when you're doing it. So all you have to do is breathe through the nose rhythmically 2 and out through the mouth once. Okay, so we go and we can go slower. So relaxing. So that is what your anxiety wants. It wants you to be with it. You can use that tool, the ballroom breath. Can you see that little thing is like, it's like the We Will Rock You from Queen. It's got that sort of pattern. Now what you're actually doing, just to give you a bit of science behind this, is you are stimulating something called the phrenic nerve, spelled P-H-R-E-N-I-C. And the phrenic nerve has a direct link from the neurons in your brain to your diaphragm, and from your diaphragm to the neurons in your brain. So actually you're doing it from a bottom-up approach. You're going from the body to the brain. So you're sending a message up to the brain really quickly. It's a really, really quick access route to actually tell the brain that you're okay, you're safe, everything's okay. So that is the ballroom breath. That will help you. Don't go to that directly first. If you want to play with this is playing with presentism. If you want to really play with it, then just be with the anxiety first. See it, feel it, allow it, see where it feels. Where is it in your body? Where do you feel it? Now, obviously, I do a much longer version of this sort of training. I have something called the play process, which is a 4-step process for you to learn how to do this properly. But just being with it, just to be with your anxiety, and I promise you, you will start to see results. You will start to notice that you can be with it, and it's not going to take over, and it's not going to control you, and it's not going to cause you all of the things that it's been causing you all this time that you've been trying to ignore it. So if you have enjoyed this video, I hope you have, I hope you found it useful. Please, 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 because it's Mental Health Awareness Week, share it to as many people as you can that you feel would benefit from understanding their anxiety a little bit more, and also learning how to actually be with their anxiety rather than trying to distract themselves. So please share and share away. If you're wanting more information, then I will be launching very shortly my Jules Mitchell University, spelled YOU, because it's all about you and how you can understand you, your physiology, your stress, your nervous system, your brain, your emotions, your mind, you name it. That's what I cover in the university. I'm a powerhouse of information because I've just consumed so much over the years and shared it as well. So if you're interested to find out more, then I don't have any links attached to this video at all. You can go along to my website to find out my email address. At the moment, that's what I've got for you. Okay, that is it. I've got no marketing campaign going along with this. It was just a real sort of moment of I need to share something during this week. So that's what I'm doing. So my company is called Big Happiness Experiment, Big Happiness, bighappinesscic.com. If you genuinely want to know more, then you'll find me, won't you? You'll find more details. So that's it. I will sign off. I hope that this has been really useful for you, and it has made a difference to you. So go off and do the ballroom, quick, slow breath, and see what it does for you.